Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Jimmy Dore Show. I'm here with the miserable liberal.
Hi, Jimmy.
Oh, look at that T-shirt.
Oh,
it's
you mean this?
the one that says the miserable liberal with Steph Zamorano. Is that what it says?
No, I just think it says misery loves company.
Oh, misery loves company. The miserable liberal, misery loves company. You can get that T-shirt right underneath. Go to our store, Spreadshirt. Pick up a miserable liberal T-shirt. It's a great way to help support the show because they're demonetizing our videos all over the place. Today we're talking about the Allard Prize for International Integrity. I showed you two other quick videos. What the Allard Prize for International Integrity is who's ever fighting corruption around the world, they try to highlight it and they try to support them financially and they give them an award, right? So to encourage people to do more muckraking and more fighting against the power. And so we showed you already in Brazil how the car wash task force is fighting corruption. They put senators in jail. They put the heads of corporations in jail in Brazil. Imagine if that happened here in America. Imagine if they put the heads of the banks in jail. How banking would be different. Imagine if they put people who did an illegal war in jail. Imagine if they put people who did torture in jail. Imagine how everything would be different. Imagine if they put people in jail who screwed people on their mortgages and kicked them out of their house illegally. Imagine if they would do that in America. They don't prosecute those people. Those people get to become cabinet members for the president. But again, so now let's get back to this. The Allard Prize, we already told you Brazil. We already showed you Egypt, people fighting against unbelievable corruption there. And now we're going to go to Azerbaijan. This is the journalist who won the prize. So here's a little video talking all about her fight against corruption in Azerbaijan. Now, Azerbaijan used to be behind the Iron Curtain, and now it's not. You can't believe this. Watch this.
To an outsider, Azerbaijan puts on a glamorous and ostentatious face. But despite all the lavish attractions here, there is a dark side, a corrupt side, that keeps its citizens quietly oppressed and disenfranchised. This is a country that is petroleum rich and petroleum poor. Away from the opulence, the land is pockmarked by oil wells extracting wealth, which are surrounded by poverty and poor living conditions. Being a journalist here demands an extra amount of courage.
My name is Khadija Ismailova, and I'm an investigative journalist. One faces corruption at every stage of their lives in Azerbaijan. It starts from the day you were born, and then at the very end, when you die, your relatives again have to pay bribe to get a piece of land where you will be buried. Corruption is not just a negative notion. Corruption is a crime that kills people directly and indirectly. There is no fair play system in this country. So what I do, I investigate hidden business interests of high-level politicians in my country.
Once part of the Soviet Union, Azerbaijan has had the largest decline in democratic governance of any part of Eurasia. The country's presidency has roots in the KGB and has become a dynasty. Since 1993, Heydar Aliyev and now his son Ilham Aliyev have remained in power.
It's like a kingdom. It's controlled by one family. They're controlling the biggest part of the economy in this country. They are controlling most of the opportunities in this country.
Khadija is one of Azerbaijan's most courageous journalists and continues to challenge the current system, despite the consequences.
I spent a year and a half in prison, and even now I'm under surveillance and I'm being watched constantly.
Khadija's problems are far from unique. Over the years, large numbers of journalists and activists have been rounded up and jailed for their criticism of the Aliyev government.
Like Ilgar Mammadov, he is in prison now. These are my criminal cases. The first rule of investigative journalism is follow the money. And Aliyevs couldn't keep the money inside the country. They spend a lot of money outside the country. They buy mansions around the world. They buy businesses around the world. For example, President's daughter Leyla Aliyeva owns a lot of mansions in London. His son and daughters own property worth altogether $75 million in Dubai. Whatever business I've been investigating, the family members' names were popping out. I discovered documents in Panama State Registry showing that our President Ilham Aliyev's family members own companies in offshores which they use to hide their business interests in Azerbaijan. One of the investigations was about 6 gold and copper mines. The president's daughter's company got the right to dig the gold out of those mines, including one particular in Chovdar. And according to the official estimates, the reserves were worth 2.5 billion US dollars. I actually didn't only discover that the president's daughters own the company, but I also discovered that president himself ordered the Minister of Natural Resources to sign a contract with daughter's company.
Eventually, as a result of her reports, the public was starting to discover the truth about their dubious first family. That put Khadija on the government radar.
A couple days after first story on Panama companies have been published, a video camera had been planted in my bedroom. They filmed me secretly in my bedroom with my boyfriend and then blackmailed me with that video. And when I didn't step back, they posted the videos online. And that was basically the worst thing they could do to anyone, any woman in this country.
This was followed by a barrage of threats, a smear campaign in state media, as well as various criminal charges. The government wanted her out of the picture. Convicted of trumped-up charges, she was sentenced to 7.5 years in prison. But this backfired. The government had no idea what they were in for.
I said, I want to be incarcerated. I like it there. And then my colleagues worldwide started a project which was called Khadija Project. Around 100 journalists joined the initiative and they started doing investigation on Aliyev's family. They continued the investigations that I've started. They conducted new investigations. They revealed new facts. And they announced that they are doing it for my freedom.
Soon after, some heavy hitters jumped on the campaign.
This is the observation paper done by my lawyers.
As her counsel, I've filed a case before the European Court of Human Rights that seeks to have the court recognize the violations that have occurred. She also benefited from support on a bipartisan basis from representatives from Congress and the Senate.
During the same period, the Obama administration had some serious discussions with President Aliyev.
First of all, I'd like to express my gratitude to President Obama.
And there was the irony that Mehraban, the First Lady of Azerbaijan, was a UNESCO ambassador, while at the same time keeping a journalist in prison who had been investigating her and her daughters.
They understood that they are losing much more by keeping me in prison.
Soon, Aliyev began pardoning dozens of political prisoners. And around the same time, Khadija was eventually released and acquitted of 3 of the 5 charges. Still, she is watched carefully and cannot leave her country. And others still languish in prison while the Aliyev's family corruption and lineage continues.
I don't know if ending corruption is possible, but I will continue doing my job, exposing corruption, till the end of my life. Or, in better case, till the end of the problem.
So she was the Allard Prize winner. She was chosen as the winner of the prize. And it's humbling to me to see her say stuff like that. She's in Azerbaijan. She says, I want to go to prison. I like it there. You'd never catch me saying that. So my hat is off. Steph, what do you have to say?
You know, every time I've watched this video, I'm so impressed with her and I'm riveted by her story and by her strength, that she is really targeting the top of her government and holding them accountable in such a fearless manner. I can't even understand it. I'm humbled by what she's done, and I'm really glad that she has been honored this way.
So hats off to Peter Allard and the Allard Committee for choosing her, for highlighting her, for exposing all these journalists to me, and the Lava Jato Task Force in Brazil. I mean, so we're going to put a link. You can go watch the other videos that we already did on this. The Allard Prize doing great work. Glenn Greenwald was the keynote speaker. He gave such an inspiring... We should cover that speech, which we will. I keep forgetting, but we're going to cover his speech at the Allard Prize about these whistleblowers and the courage. He tells a great story about Edward Snowden that is really life-affirming, and I can't wait to show it to you, which I will. But hats off to Khadija, and she was not allowed to come to receive her award because they won't let her travel. In fact, 2 out of the 3 nominees not allowed to travel. So they weren't allowed to come to the prize awarding. Isn't that something? Just like Chelsea Manning not allowed to. So good on the Allard Prize. Good on Khadija. Good on for everybody acknowledging it. And she's literally just exposing corruption that's able to be gotten. She does it. She just investigates it, follows the money. Boom, there it is. Imagine if they did that in America. Imagine how different our country would be if we actually imprisoned the elites who were criminals in our country. We'd have a completely different banking sector. We wouldn't have continuous war. I mean, the guys who did an illegal war and ordered torture to cover up, nothing happens to them. Nothing. But our prisons are full to the gills. We like putting people in prison, just not powerful people. Again, very moving, very inspiring. That's the kind of courage we need. Can you imagine an American journalist doing that? Exposing corruption and going, I'll go to prison for it. I don't care. Portland, Oregon, the Jimmy Dore Show is coming to the Alberta Rose Theater November 12th. And we're going to Burbank, California, November 6th. And the Hollywood Improv on October 16th. There's a link for tickets right down there. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com for all links for all shows.